Welcome my YouTube channel, Stoic Powerful Habits. Asterisk, ladies and gentlemen. Asterisk. There's a quiet war happening around you, one not of blood and blades, but of influence and energy. The most dangerous enemies are not the ones who shot in your face, but the ones who smile as they drain your essence. A Stoic man does not fear these people, but he recognizes them. And with discipline, he distances himself not in anger, but in wisdom. 1. The complainer. He walks with the posture of defeat, mouth full of venom for the world. To him, life owes something, and everyone is at fault but himself. He poisons the well of gratitude. The Stoic sees this clearly, for he knows that every complaint is a rejection of personal power. A man of virtue does not allow the external world to dictate his inner climate. Avoid the complainer, not because he is evil, but because his sickness is contagious. Gratitude is your shield. Keep it polished. 2. The flatterer. He is harder to spot. He praises you with golden words, but behind each one hides a motive. The Stoic does not reject praise, but he distrusts praise that asks for nothing in return, because it always asks for something later. A compliment is only virtuous when it flows from honesty, not manipulation. Be vigilant. The moment your ego swells under another's words, pause. Ask, what part of me wanted to believe this? The flatterer feeds your pride to starve your awareness. 3. The drifter. He is harmless, they say, but he is the slow death of purpose. He wanders without direction, pulled by momentary pleasures, detached from time, duty, or legacy. Sit with him long enough, and your fire will dim. You'll begin to justify stillness as rest and aimlessness as freedom. But the Stoic knows freedom is found in discipline. The drifter is a siren. His song is sweet, but his presence dulls the blade of your will. Honor your path. Walk it with clarity. 4. The addicted to chaos. Wherever they go, storms follow. By accident, but by design. They feel most alive in disorder and pull others into the whirlpool. Their life is a drama, and you are always cast as either villain or savior. The Stoic avoids this trap. He does not play roles. He remains the observer. Peace is not the absence of noise, but the refusal to participate in foolishness. To be drawn into chaos is to forfeit your stillness. Protected like sacred ground. 5. The secret competitor. He claps when you rise but secretly resents your flight. He offers help, but plans stout. The Stoic watches silently, seeing not the words, but the motives. The man who envies you in silence will sabotage you in silence. He will celebrate your success publicly, but quietly root for your failure. Keep your circle tight. A friend who cannot rejoice in your triumph is not a friend at all. Seek companions, not competitors in disguise. 6. The eternal victim. Pain visits everyone but he. Made it a residence. His story never changes. Always wronged. Always wounded. He weaponizes his suffering to excuse stagnation. The Stoic holds space for pain, but never allows it to become identity. Do not rescue him, for he does not want to be saved. He wants witnesses to his suffering. To carry his burden is to abandon your own. Compassion is noble, but self-sacrifice at the altar of another's unwillingness to grow is 9.7. The morally flexible justifies betrayal as necessity, deceit as strategy. He is loyal only to his gain. In his presence, your ethics begin to erode. The Stoic does not fear the cost of virtue. He fears the cost of losing it. Surround yourself with men whose word is unshakable, even when it costs them everything. Your values are the compass. The moment you walk with the morally flexible, your direction begins to bend. 8. The energy parasite. He doesn't argue. He doesn't gossip. He just drains. You feel heavy after speaking with him. Confused? Tired? your focus scatters. Calls this man what he is, a thief, not of time, but of spirit. He may not mean harm, but harm is done. Every moment spent with him subtracts from your clarity, your presence, your sharpness. Energy is sacred. Preserve it. Audit your environment. Ask, who gives me energy? Who takes it away? In all of this, remember, avoidance is not fear. It is wisdom. It is discernment. A Stoic man does not reject others from pride. He simply honors the cost of his own peace. You do not owe access to everyone, or owe allegiance to your highest self. So walk forward, with eyes open, heart clean, and spirit anchored in virtue. Let the winds howl. Let the people twist. You remain rooted, silent, unshaken. Let others chase shadows. You chase the light. Asterisk, the man who complains does not speak of the world. He speaks of himself. What we hear in his voice is not the weather of the day, nor the injustice of the system. It's the echo of an inner poverty. He declares, they wronged me, not because he was truly wronged, but because he cannot imagine himself as the cause of his own experience. In truth, the one who complains denies the creative power that shapes all things. He believes the mirror is flawed, not realizing he is the one making the face in it. We are told in sacred whispers that all life is a reflection of inner assumptions. To complain is to make permanent the very state we seek to leave. It is too. Announce, I am powerless. I am subject to forces greater than me. I am small. And this declaration moves unseen hands to ensure its truth. The world does not argue with us, it agrees. It yields. It mirrors. The complainer does not understand this law. So he fights his own shadow and curses the sun for casting it. When you walk with such a man, your own vision begins to blur. Not because his words are sharp, but because they are consistent. Repetition is the tool of the creative mind. Hear a lie often enough, and you begin to animate it with your belief. The Stoic soul, the awakened soul, must guard against this infection of thought. For every complaint you tolerate becomes an idea entertained. Every idea entertained becomes a state lived. And every state lived becomes your reality. So avoid the company of those who habitually curse their fate, not from disdain, but from understanding. Their world is not fixed. It's self-inflicted. You cannot enter their theater without becoming part of the play. Instead, dwell with those who know the true source of power lies within. Walk with men who, when life gives them little, turn within and imagine more. For such a man will never drain you. He will remind you of what you truly are. The operant power, the creative force, the one who need only assume to become. A complainer is not evil. He is merely unconscious. He is lost in the dream and thinks others are the dreamers. He believes the projection is the projector. And so he battles illusions, exhausts himself, and tries to scope the smoke of circumstance. Instead of adjusting the fire of imagination from which it all springs, your mind is a garden. The words of a complainer are weeds. At first they seem harmless, just a few, but allow them space, and they multiply. And then you find yourself repeating complaints you never had, doubting promises you once believed, questioning the path you were once sure of. That is the true danger, not the noise, but the slow erosion of vision. He doesn't shout in your face. He whispers into your soul. Now turn your gaze to another danger cloaked in charm, the flatterer. He is the mirror that lies, reflecting only what you wish to see. But flattery is not praise. Praise is a gift given with love. Flattery is a tool, used with intent. When he says you are great, he means to make you dependent. When he tells you that no one else is like you, he is creating a world where only his voice confirms your worth. This is a subtler poison, like the complainer who drains you with negativity. The flatterer feeds you with sweetness that numbs your will. He gives you a throne made of sand and tells you you're a king. And you sit there proudly until the tide comes. By the time you realize it was illusion, You were already knee-deep in self-doubt. He gave you no strength, only a crutch of approval. That collapses when he leaves. When you allow another's praise to define your state, you are no longer the author of your world. You become a reader, waiting for compliments to feel strong, waiting for validation to feel seen. But power is never received. It is claimed. The flatterer knows you are powerful, and that terrifies him. So he disarms you with worship, raps, control, and affection. He creates a cage and paints it gold, calling it devotion. The wise do not despise compliments. They simply do not need them. They know that no outer voice can confirm what is already assumed within. To need praise is to forget your own imagination. To rely on the voice of another is to silence your own. The man who builds his house on the approval of others will always fear the weather. Watch how the flatterer speaks. He does not challenge you. He never invites growth. He simply magnifies what you already believe, especially your vanity. He inflates. The false self starves the true one. The moment you start to expect his praise, he owns your emotional thermostat. He has the power to raise you or sink you, and that is a dangerous place for any soul-seeking sovereignty. Avoid the one who only tells you what you want to hear. He does not serve your growth. He serves himself. Seek instead the man who speaks from love, even when his words sting. He does not flatter. He reflects. He does not feed your pride. He awakens your vision. He reminds you that you are the source of your own experience, not the world, not the voices that sing for your attention. Both the complainer and the flatterer are thieves of power. One does it by pulling you down. The other does it by lifting you up on his terms. But the result is the same. You forget that your assumptions shape your reality. You forget that states of consciousness precede form. You forget that the world is yourself pushed out. Withdraw from their games. Withdraw not with bitterness, but with understanding. There is no judgment, here only clarity. You do not fight them. You do not condemn them. You simply do not dance. With them, you stand still in your inner knowing. You assume the state of the free, the strong, the silently powerful. And as you do, you will notice something remarkable. The complainer will find someone else to listen. The flatterer will find someone else to seduce. And you will remain a soul, unshaken, unmoved, unbothered. Not because you resisted, but because you remembered. Your life is the outpicturing of your inner conversations. Choose them wisely. Asterisk. There is a man whose steps leave no mark, whose presence carries no direction. He does not resist life, nor does he command it. He simply drifts. And in his drifting, he becomes dangerous not through malice or intent, but through the quiet erosion of purpose. To walk beside him is to slowly forget the reason you began walking at all. He is the embodiment of passivity, a being caught between desires and unable to choose. He appears free, yet he is a prisoner of hesitation. Vistament, this man, the drifter, is not aware that he is shaping the world. He believes that life is happening to him, that he is a passenger aboard a train that he did not design, on tracks he did not lay. He has not assumed control. He waits for signs, for chances, for external permission. And while he waits, the structure of his inner world begins to rot. Vision dies in silence. Imagination dries when left unused. The mind, if not planted with intent, grows weeds of confusion and fear. You may think his presence is harmless. He offers no argument, no opposition. He listens. He smiles. He floats through conversation with ease. But slowly, your own sense of movement dulls in his presence. You begin to question why you strive. Maury. You start wondering if rest is not enough. The drifter speaks not with words, but with energy. His soul does not yearn, so your own ceases to burn. A drifting mind is a mind that has given up authorship. It has allowed the outer world to suggest its script. Each day, He wakes up and waits for something to happen. A message, a phone call, a push, never realizing that the push he waits for is himself. The world responds not to need, but to assumption. It reflects not the activity of the outer limbs, but the movement of the inner state, a K. And when a man refuses to assume a state, he is suspended alive, yet not living. To walk with the drifter is to be lulled into a dreamless sleep. You lose the rhythm of discipline. You forget the beauty of structure. The stillness he projects is not peace, but stagnation. Peace is the result of mastery, not absence. Stillness, when rooted in vision, is power. But stillness without direction is decay. You must see the difference. You must feel the subtle pull of drifting energy before it sinks into your bones. There is a rhythm to creation, a pulse that moves from image to form. The drifter does not step into that rhythm. He waits outside the temple, never daring to enter. Perhaps it is fear. Perhaps it is laziness masked as contentment. But whatever the name, the result is the same. The creative force within him lies dormant. And when you surround yourself with such energy, your own force begins to sleep. Now, observe the one who carries chaos like perfume. He enters a room and you feel something tighten in your chest. Not because he is loud or cruel, but because his presence is unstable. His life is a stage for endless drama. Relationships rise and fall like tempests. Plans collapse mid-sentence. One moment he is in love with an idea. The next, he has burned into the ground. This person is addicted not to pain, but to motion without direction, to fire without form. He is not merely chaotic. He is enamored with chaos. It gives him identity. It makes him feel alive. Where the drifter is passive. This one is hyperactive, but do not mistake activity for creation. He does not build, he spins. He stirs the waters and calls it death. He confuses noise with meaning, disruption with transformation. And you, if unaware, will be drawn in not by his arguments, but by his intensity. Chaos has a seduction, offers the illusion of excitement, of movement, of emotion. But it is a storm that offers no shelter. The one addicted to it often plays the victim. They will tell you that the world is always against them, that people are never loyal, that nothing lasts. What they do not see is that they are the common denominator. Their assumptions birth their patterns. Their inner war becomes their outer experience. The emotional storms they summon are not natural disasters. They are projections. And yet, they never rest long enough to see the pattern. The moment peace approaches, they disrupt it. Silence terrifies them, because in silence, the truth begins to echo. So they stir the air again. Another conflict, another crisis, another story to escape the stillness of self-reflection. If you stay in this person's orbit long enough, you will begin to crave unrest. You will find stillness unbearable. Your own creative state, which requires clarity and intention, will be hijacked. Chaos will become familiar. And soon, you will find yourself living from reaction instead of creation. You will become a character in someone else's recurring drama, forgetting that you are the playwright of your own script. Creation happens in order. The imagination moves deliberately. When you dwell with those who invite chaos, you compromise. Your ability to persist in an imagined state? You may think you are unaffected, but energy does not lie. You will feel scattered, uncentered. You will abandon your chosen assumptions the moment their storm enters your life. They will distract you with problems, call you disloyal for stepping back, demand your sympathy without ever seeking healing. Such individuals do not want resolution. They want participation. They do not desire peace. They desire witnesses to their chaos. And if you are not alert, you will mistake that for connection. But true connection does not cost you your clarity. True friendship does not pull you out of your center. Withdraw from these energies, not in judgment, but in self-respect. Not because they are beyond saving, but because they do not seek salvation. Their chaos is their comfort. Okay. Their restlessness is their refuge. Okay. And until they tire of it themselves, they will not change. But you must protect your temple. You must preserve your attention, for it is the soil in which your reality grows. Remain rooted in your assumption. Walk with those who value stillness, not as absence, but as alignment. Surround yourself with men and women who do not chase storms, but create inner climates of peace. Your reality is delicate. It responds to thought, to belief, to feeling. Hey, every interaction either nourishes or poisons it. Choose wisely. There is no virtue in entertaining chaos for the sake of compassion. There is no strength in tolerating drifting minds for the sake of kindness. Kindness to others must never become cruelty to self. You are not here to rescue those who do not wish to awaken. You are here to assume states that reflect your highest vision and to live from them persistently. The drifter and the chaotic one cannot help you do this. They pull you into delay and distraction, and so you bless them silently and move on. You assume your path and walk it with dignity, not hurried, not reactive, but firm in your decision. You are the operant power. You are the one who shapes your world. To drift is to forget. To welcome chaos is to abandon. But to choose, to assume. To remain, this is power. This is the essence of creation. There is a certain type of man who watches with quiet eyes. He smiles when you succeed. He claps when you rise. But there is something hollow in his applause, something strained in his praise. He is the secret competitor, the friend cloaked in rivalry. He does not strike with open hands, but with subtle doubt. His challenge is not declared. It is buried in silence, wrapped in compliments that leave you uneasy. His presence is not confrontation. It is quiet subtraction. To understand him, you must understand envy in its most refined form. It's not the obvious envy that lashes out or boasts in return, but the envy that sits in admiration laced with resistance. It is not your failure he fears. It is your light, your clarity, your progress. When you grow, you reflect what he denies within himself. Your advancement reveals the space he has refused to explore. He cannot celebrate you because doing so would mean he must confront his own stillness. He does not oppose you directly, does not wish to appear as an enemy. Instead, he undermines with suggestion. He plants seeds of hesitation. He questions the timing of your steps. He wonders aloud if it's wise to move so fast, if perhaps you are being unrealistic. Never. Speaks in absolutes. He speaks in shadows. He doubts as a friend. He sows discouragement while calling it care. And if you are unaware, you will begin to adopt his uncertainty as your own. The secret competitor is not dangerous because of what he says. He is dangerous because of what he withdraws. His absence in your victories is louder than applause. Silence when you expand is heavier than criticism. And if you are still ruled by the outer world, you will seek his approval, mistaking his tension for wisdom. You will lower your flame just enough so that he can feel comfortable again. Not because he asked you to, but because his energy suggested it. There is a law that governs this unseen battlefield. The law is simple. All that you assume is made flesh. And the secret competitor has assumed a world where only one can rise. He lives in the illusion of lack. He believes your gain is his loss. So when you embody success, he feels lack reflected back. His soul rebels, not against you, but against the mirror you hold up. His issue is not your victory, it's the implication of your victory. You must recognize him, not to attack him, but to preserve yourself. For your inner state is delicate in the early stages of assumption. When you dare to believe something new about yourself, you are nurturing a seed. And the people around you either water it or trample it with their invisible fears. The secret competitor tramples not by words, but by energy. His presence alone can shake your conviction if you are not fully anchored in it. Withdraw gently, not with resistance, but with clarity. Do not explain. Do not confront. Simply assume your vision and live from it. For once you are fully embodied in your chosen state, their doubts no longer penetrate. They fade into the outer world where they belong, never touching the inner sanctuary from which you create. Equally subtle, yet equally potent, is the energy of the eternal victim. He is the man who clings to pain like an identity. He does not seek healing. He seeks witnesses. His wounds are no longer events. They are stories. And these stories are not told for insight. They are told to secure pity, to gain attention, to justify stagnation. Every conversation bends toward his suffering. Every moment becomes an opportunity to relive the past. He does not want answers. He wants reinforcement. He desires to be seen as wronged, as hurt, as damaged. For in that perception, he finds safety. To let go of the pain would be to step into responsibility. And responsibility is terrifying to the man who has lived in the shadows of circumstance. It would mean accepting that he has authored his reality, that the world he knows is simply the outpicturing of his state of being. He resents this truth. He cannot see pain as the echo of forgotten assumptions. He cannot yet believe that what he holds within becomes what he sees without. And so, he circles the same experiences again and again, wearing them like badges. He calls it honesty. He calls it being real. But it is a loop, a dream he refuses to wake from. Your compassion may urge you to stay. You may feel responsible to guide him out. But beware. His story is a vortex. It does not lift. It pulls. The longer you listen, the more you begin to align with his frequency. You will find yourself questioning your own joy, tempering your own progress, silencing your own gratitude so as not to wound him further. You will forget that your expansion serves more than just yourself, serves the collective. And to dim your light in the presence of another's suffering is not kindness. It is disobedience to your purpose. The eternal victim will not change until he tires of his own narrative. No argument will shift him. No advice will liberate him. Only when he recognizes the futility of retelling the wound will he begin to consider a new identity. And that identity cannot be given, it must be assumed, just as you assume yours. Avoid entanglement out of judgment, but out of discipline. Your state must be guarded. Your vision must be preserved. You are not cold for stepping away. You are clear. The moment you allow repeated tales of helplessness to enter your consciousness, you begin to mirror them. You begin to vibrate with them. And creation is not partial, it responds to vibration. What you feel repeatedly becomes what you live. And so, if you feel sorrow out of alignment, it does not lift the other, it shapes your own world. That is the danger. Not the person himself, but the state you begin to occupy in reaction to him. Instead, dwell in the presence of those who, remember, those who know that all is mind, all is consciousness, all is imagination. Let your circle be composed of those who assume responsibility without shame, who transform wounds into wisdom, who bless the past but no longer bow to it. And if you must be near the eternal victim, be so as a lighthouse, not a lifeboat. Are not there to enter the storm. You are there to stand still in the light of what is possible. Let your clarity speak louder than pity. Let your joy speak louder than sorrow. Let your chosen state be the silent invitation to rise. Both the secret competitor and the eternal victim live in resistance. One resists your growth. The other resists his own. And neither can journey with you if your destination is dominion. Do not hate them. I despise them. Simply do not anchor your vision where their state cannot support it. You were not made to shrink in the presence of envy. You were not made to soothe the pain of those unwilling to heal. You were made to choose, to assume, to radiate the truth of your inner world into the outer one without apology. That is the work. That is the path. That is the law. Asterisk, there is a man whose principles shift with the moment, whose values bend with convenience. He is not loyal to truth, but to gain. He wears morality like a costume, adjusting it to suit his needs. His code changes in the presence of opportunity. What is right becomes what is useful. What is wrong becomes what is avoidable. He does not see the law of consciousness. Okay. He sees only the mechanics of advantage. Okay. His mind calculates, but his spirit is empty. He may not act with open malice. He does not scream his betrayal from rooftops. His danger is quiet. He speaks of goals. He speaks of success. He speaks of doing what must be done. But behind each word is a detachment from principle. He does not ask what is true, what is eternal, what aligns with the inner law. He asks only what works, what gains, what moves the needle. His compass is external, and for that reason, he is lost. You may walk beside him and feel no immediate threat. He is charming, is persuasive. He has stories of triumph and tales of cleverness. But look deeper. There is no anchor in him. Nothing fixed, nothing sacred. When difficulty arises, he shifts. When temptation appears, he justifies. He tells himself that ends justify means, that survival demands flexibility. Only fools refuse to bend. He does not know that it is not the outer result that defines the man, but the inner state from which he moves. To be morally flexible is to forget that the world is consciousness externalized. Every act, every motive, every movement is a reflection of the inner state assumed. And when that state is unstable, the world reflects confusion. He may win in the eyes of the world for a time, but his victories are built on sand. Without principle, there is no permanence. Without inner law, there is no structure to sustain what is gained. He will invite you to follow him. He will tell you that your virtue slows you down, that your honesty is outdated, that your discipline is unnecessary. He will call your vision naive and your loyalty rigid. And if you are not rooted in truth, you will listen. You will begin to bend your own standard just a little. You will call it being practical. You will call it adjusting to the times. The moment you adjust your principle to suit your condition, you forget that condition is the result of assumption. You begin to live from the outside in, rather than the inside. The morally flexible man is governed by fear. He fears loss. He fears delay. He fears that without manipulation, he will not survive. He does not believe in the silent power of imagination. He believes in leverage, in pressure, in the quick fix. And in doing so, he builds a world that must constantly be held together by force. He cannot rest. He cannot trust. He must always scheme, always adjust, always negotiate with his own integrity. There is no peace in that path. No joy. Illusion of control. True power is never born from compromise. It is born from alignment. It is born from assuming the state of already being, already having, already knowing. And when you are firmly planted in that state, there is no need to bend. The world conforms not to your strategy, but to your certainty. Withdraw from the morally flexible, not with judgment, but with reverence for your own foundation. Do not debate him. Do not attempt to change him. Simply remain unwavering. Stand in the stillness of your knowing. For the man who truly understands the law does not need to convince anyone. It simply lives it. And the world reshapes itself around him. Now look, toward another kind of danger, one less visible but deeply draining. This one does not lie. He does not betray. He simply takes, quietly, repeatedly, with a presence that leaves you hollow. He is the energy parasite, not through noise or violence, but through subtle extraction. Every time you meet, you feel a little less clear, a little less inspired, a little more tired. He has not shouted, yet your spirit feels silenced. He speaks in circles, He confuses, not with intent, but with lack of clarity. His words do not lead anywhere. His thoughts scatter like dust. And when you leave him, you must recover. Not from harm, but from the absence of nourishment. He offers no direction, no light. Only the constant hunger of attention, the silent. Demand that you carry what he will not. This man is not malicious. He is simply unconscious. He has not cultivated his own energy, so he must feed from others. He does not know how to center himself, so he orbits the nearest source of strength. And if that strength is you, you will become his anchor without consent. He will look to you for answers, for clarity, for presence, a kind, and he will never give it back. The danger lies in the slow erosion, not the single conversation, but the repetition. You will begin to delay your own path. You will feel obligated to hold space, to explain, to rescue. You will spend hours in conversations that resolve nothing, offering insights that are never applied. You will call it helping. You will call it being there. But underneath, you will feel the fatigue of being consumed. Your energy is sacred. It is the currency by which your reality is built. What you feel is what you create. What you dwell in becomes form. And when your energy is constantly pulled toward confusion, toward emptiness, toward unresolved patterns, your manifestation slows. Not because the law has stopped working, but because you have stopped choosing where to place your attention. The energy parasite does not ask for much. He simply waits. He feels the silence. He occupies the space. And slowly, you forget the sound of your own inner voice. His need becomes background noise. His presence becomes a habit. You may not even notice until the results begin to fade, until your clarity dulls, until your passion softens. Then you wonder why things feel slower, heavier, harder. You look outward, but the cause is within. To preserve your energy, you must become deliberate, not reactive, not apologetic. You must choose your environment as carefully as your thoughts, for every external presence has an internal echo. What you allow into your space becomes what you allow into your consciousness, and what enters your consciousness becomes what is. Outpictured in the world you walk through, it is not unkind to protect your energy. It is essential. You are not here to be available to every need, every question, every unresolved story. You are here to create, to assume, to embody, and anything that weakens your focus, weakens your ability to live from your chosen state. Guard it like the treasure it is. Choose conversation that lifts. Choose presence that sharpens. Choose silence over noise, vision over reaction, clarity over confusion. Let your boundaries be formed not from resistance, but from purpose. Do not explain. Do not justify. Simply preserve. You will find that those who truly align with your path will never drain you, tie you. They will inspire you. They will reflect the state you have assumed. And in their presence, you will feel stronger, clearer, more alive. This is not about judgment. It is about vibration. It is about understanding that you are the center from which your world unfolds. And the more carefully you tend to your inner state, the more effortlessly your outer world aligns. Choose integrity. Choose clarity. Choose energy that honors your becoming. There is no virtue in tolerating what dims your light. There is no wisdom in remaining where your imagination cannot. Thrive. Withdraw. Not in silence, but in stillness. Remain in your state and allow the world to rise to meet it.